I used only this one word to become the richest man in America, said Andrew Carnegie. In 1848, a 13-year-old boy left Scotland on an old, overcrowded ship. His name was Andrew Carnegie. His father had lost his job. The textile industry had been destroyed by machines. The family could no longer survive. They sold what little they owned and left for the United States. Andrew arrived in New York with no money, no formal education, and no connections. But he had one powerful ability: the ability to say no. No to the fate that had been handed to him. No to the small life that seemed inevitable. The family moved to Allegheny, Pennsylvania, where they lived in 2 small rooms above a workshop. Soon after, his father's business failed again. At 13, Andrew worked from morning until night in a cotton factory, carrying heavy bobbins for a miserable wage. But he refused to believe that this would be his life forever. He said no to exhaustion, no to resignation, no to the idea that he was born to obey. When he got a job as a messenger at a telegraph company, Andrew found another chance to say no. While others went home, he stayed. No to rest, no to mediocrity. He studied the operators, learned the signals by sound, and practiced alone. Before long, he became the fastest operator in the city. That earned him a position at the Pennsylvania Railroad. By 24, Carnegie was already a superintendent. High salary, security, prestige. But he said no. No to the idea that this was the ceiling of his life. When his boss Thomas Scott told him about an investment opportunity, Andrew once again said no. No to fear. His mother mortgaged the family home to raise $500. He invested. The dividends came. Andrew learned something essential. Saying no to immediate comfort is the only way to build the future. When opportunities appeared in sleeping cars, steamships, and oil, he refused to stay in one place. He said no to standing still. When steel became the backbone of the modern economy, Carnegie was already there. He built Carnegie Steel, not just as a company, but as a system. He said no to inefficiency, no to waste, no to slow production. He automated, standardized, dominated. Within a few decades, his company became the largest in the world. In 1901, he sold everything to J.P. Morgan for $480 million. He was now the richest man in America. Then he made the greatest decision of his life. He said no to dying rich. Carnegie believed that wealth without purpose was shameful. He wrote the Gospel of Wealth. In it, he declared that rich men are not owners of money. They are stewards. He refused to hoard. No to empty luxury. No to massive inheritances. No to vanity. And yes to libraries. Yes to education. Yes to science. Yes to peace. He built more than 2,500 libraries around the world. He created universities, museums, research funds, and scientific institutions. The same word that lifted him from poverty was now changing the lives of millions. No. No to ignorance. No to inequality. No to war. At the end of his life, Carnegie used his fortune to fight for world peace. He funded the Peace Palace. He created the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. He believed the world could be better if men had the courage to say no to violence. Andrew Carnegie did not become powerful because of what he accepted. He became powerful because of what he refused. No to limited thinking. No to fear. No to conformity. No to boundaries imposed by others. That single word turned an immigrant boy into one of the most powerful men in history. No. And by saying no, he earned the right to say yes to the future. After Carnegie said no to dying rich, something even rarer happened. He realized that saying no was harder when you already had everything. When you are poor, no is survival. When you are powerful, no is character. The millionaires around him accumulated more, built palaces, chased status. Carnegie rejected that. He said no to living for display, and yes to building something that would outlive him. That is why he chose libraries, not hospitals, not statues, not monuments to himself. Libraries, because books had changed his own life. As a boy, he had no money for education, but a man named Colonel Anderson opened his private library to working boys. Carnegie never forgot that. He said that small library did more for him than any school ever could. So when he became rich, he said no to luxury and yes to giving others the same chance. He funded libraries in small towns, big cities, and entire countries. He did not ask for praise. He asked communities to commit to maintaining the buildings and the books. He wanted participation because he said no to charity that creates dependence. He wanted investment. That pattern repeated in everything he did. When he funded universities, he demanded excellence. When he supported science, he demanded impact. When he worked for peace, he demanded results. Carnegie said no to wasted money and yes to ideas that could change the world. That is how he helped fund research that led to the discovery of insulin. That is how he supported public education on a global scale. That is how he built a legacy that still exists more than a century later. And all of it came from the same word. No. No to short-term thinking. No to easy solutions. No to empty comfort. At the end of his life, Andrew Carnegie was tired, but not regretful. He had given away nearly all of his fortune. He knew his name would not live in vaults. It would live in minds. He died in 1919 believing he had made the right choice. And the choice was always the same. No. No to what the world expects of you. No to the easy path. No to ego. And yes to what truly matters.